All right, hi. Thank you for joining us. We're going to be talking this evening primarily about a free app called TinyTap. I'm hoping everybody already has that downloaded and have your profile set up so you're ready to play around with it while we're doing this and get the hang of using it. It's a lot easier than it first looks. It's a little intimidating when you first look at it. So I'm going to walk you through all the parts. I first found TinyTap about 2 years ago when our department got us iPads, but there was no money for actually buying any apps, so I made it a summer project to find as many free apps as I possibly could. And that's how I stumbled upon TinyTap. It was actually listed as a kids story creation app and was being marketed for toddlers, amazingly enough. When I started playing around with it, I realized that this thing has some huge potential for any age level, any content area, and we'll talk about that later on. I just wanted you to have a face to put with the name. I'm going to shut off my webcam now and save some computer memory here. Alrighty. So on the left will be the PowerPoint, and it's basically what you should have in the handouts. I think I tweaked 1 or 2 slides last night, but the basic information is still the same. And on the right is my live iPad screen, so we'll be demonstrating some things. So let's go. It doesn't matter what your level of comfort is with technology, whether you're on this end of the continuum or this end of the continuum. Anybody can learn to use TinyTap to make your own little mini apps, interactive lessons and games. Pretty simple. 4 things I want you to take away from this session is that TinyTap is versatile, easy, effective, and did I mention it's free? If it's free, it's for me. Let me show you a few of samples of some apps that I've done. They have a marketplace where all these apps are available, and like 95% of them are free. There's like 50,000 of them in there right now. These are just a few of mine. I use this for literacy skills. I use it for, I've actually been able to create an AAC device with this for free. Come on, how much does that stuff cost usually? We've set up a library at the school where I was working with a whole bunch of TinyTap apps that they're using for interventions because it does give you data. Oh, hello. Didn't want to do that yet. Student projects. All my narrative units have projects at the end that the kids like doing. This is a sample of one of the student projects. An interactive visual schedule for the autistic kids. Games. This is one that's in a gaming mode. So let me just show you some little pieces of these to give you an idea of the range of activities you can do with TinyTap.
Hi, this is Rosie Revere, engineer. Have you ever tried to do something that turned out to be a big, huge, colossal failure? Well, that happened to Rosie, and to make matters worse, someone she cared about laughed at it and hurt her feelings. Find out what she did about it.
So this introduction was done with the Say Something.
Watch the video of the story. Let's talk about some of the vocabulary you might hear in the story and you might not be familiar with. Tap on each block to find out what the word is and what it means. When you make something out of lots of parts from lots of different other objects, when you put it all together, it's hard to know what to call it. We have lots of different names for those things. Doohickeys, thingamajigs, gadgets, gizmos. You'll hear some of these words in the story.
That gives you an idea of stop this so I can talk. That second page was an example of the soundboard. When you click, this is being played from the website, by the way. When you click on that little menu thing up there, it pulls up all the pages and it tells you what the page was made with. So this was made with the soundboard. The other one was reading or say something. This is insert a video, ask questions. There's all kinds of features. Make a puzzle. Okay. Make a puzzle is great for sequencing. So you can move these around and put them in the right order. You can also use shape puzzles for sentences, sentence construction. So that's an example of one of those, and then that's an example of I give them 2 choices for projects at the end. The AAC device, this was a student, a kindergartner who was severely apraxic and could not say anything intelligibly without an auditory model. So I took the curriculum standards and looked at what Christian would have to express in the classroom, and that's what I put on here. Oh.
Good morning, Christian.
I'll skip that part. So this is like his menu. This is all the different time blocks in his schedule throughout the day.
Skills block.
So if the teacher says something like, what letter makes the D sound, he still has to figure out the answer himself. But it gives him the auditory model so he can say it then. And that's the way all the activities are structured in here. I'm not going to go through all of them. We need to save some time here. Oops. All right. Sight words. I have a couple different kinds of sight words activities in the marketplace. Yep. So it gives you an auditory and visual feedback whether your answer was correct or not. Okay, so that's an example of that. Yeah, we don't need to do any more of that. I'm going to skip the student project. Michael's schedule. This uses Soundboard, and Soundboard allows you to jump to other pages, so there's a whole page for each one of these activities, sometimes more than one page. Okay, 2 guesses which kind of behavioral reminders he needed, because that's pretty obvious. An all done checklist, check mark, takes him back to his schedule for the next activity then. So you can actually put like 30-second little videos for video modeling of appropriate behavior in settings in those activities. This is an example of putting one of your apps into gaming mode.
Let's see how good you are at recognizing the alphabet letters in American Sign Language.
You have a time limit.
You have 3 seconds to choose the right letter. And be careful, you only have 3 lines. Have fun.
This is where I embarrass myself because I made this myself and I don't usually get 100% when I play it. Okay, I know this is why. But you see, that's an example of losing a life. Oh, lost another life. Uh-oh. Okay. So it gives you scores, and we'll talk about those at the end. So those are just some of the ideas that you can use. You can see it's very flexible. It's also effective. I wanted to share with you two brief case studies, two kids I was following last year that we had some concerns about. The first one, third grade African-American female in the gifted program. Mom didn't feel like she had to go to school if she was gifted. She was smart enough. So mom made no effort to get up and get her to school. This girl got herself up and got to school, and a lot of times she missed. So she had the history of bouncing from school to school. As soon as they were there long enough that it was about to trigger DFACS referral for all the absences, they would move. She came to us in October last year. You can see in November she missed 50% of her speech therapy sessions because of her absences, unexcused absences. Narrative units in her group, and she was in for articulation, but the other kids in her group were working on narrative skills, so she also participated in those activities. And she got really involved in doing those projects at the end and just really took off with that. And you can see in December, January, and February she missed no speech sessions because she knew she'd get a chance to work with TinyTap when she came to speech. She was still absent on other days, but she was always there on speech day. March had a freak accident. Somebody stepped on her finger and broke it, that she was in the hospital having surgery for a week. And then she had a bunch of follow-up appointments. These were excused absences, though. But they did impact her attendance in therapy. But she actually started making apps for homework for some of the other students using TinyTap. Our second student, also a third grader, pretty severe ADHD, not on meds, just could not master those narrative goals, mainly because of his attention to the stories. Mom was kind of resistant about retesting. I think she figured he probably test out of the program and she wanted to keep him in, but I knew he didn't need to be there. So we started using TinyTap with him the end of November, and you can see December, that's his month's average, 100% average for all of his narrative activities for that entire month. That wasn't just one day. So I had all the information I needed to justify retesting him, and he was dismissed from the program. Hasta la vista. So besides being effective, TinyTap is very easy to access and play either from the website or from within the app that you www.tinytap.it. They're an Israeli company. When you open this up, Games is what takes you into their marketplace, where you can search for apps or games to play. You can search by the title, the author, a topic, however you want to search whatever information you have. Fingertip. You can app site management. Have to act.
Hey, Ellen. Ellen, are you there? I have lost your audio.
Lost. Okay. Restored. Can you hear me now?
There you go. Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me now?
Gotcha.
Bad cell
All right,
phone
carry on.
commercial. All right. What was the last that you heard?
I think you were at the beginning of this slide.
Okay. Games is where you go into search for the apps or the games that you want to play. Insights is the data management, and you have to access that from the website. You cannot access that from within the app. When you're in the games section on the website, you cannot create or edit games. You can just play them there. You have to do all the creating and editing on your iPad or whatever your mobile device is. The blog has information, news, contests, theme of the week type of things. You can give them feedback, ask them questions. And then when you log in, your name will appear up here, whatever your picture is you chose. And when you click on that, it will show you all of your stats about your creations and show you, a list of all the things that you've made and how many people have played them, how many have downloaded them, how many have liked them, things like that. We'll see that a little later. Okay. So when you're on the website, when you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see a little teeny tiny little line that says Creator Center that takes you into the screen where your analytics are and where insights are. Group Insights is their subscription data management that I'll mention in just a minute. But this is where you can see how many people played your played your apps on the website or how many downloaded onto their device. It gives you a running total at the end. Okay, and then Insights. When you have a group of students, you can arrange them by groups or individually, and you can send them assignments to do. And then when they do the assignment, Insights will send you all the data. Not only their score, the date that they did it, how long it took them to do it, which answers they got right, which answers they got wrong, how they compared to the other kids in that group doing the same assignment. It's pretty awesome. And they have a back-to-school sale now. If anybody's interested, now's the time to do it. Okay, that was from the website. Now this is from accessing from within the app itself. Let me do that. So when you go in, normally it will open to their marketplace, and there's a scrolling banner at the top, so it's always going to look a little different. At the bottom, we have Discover is what I just tapped on to get into this marketplace. Play, that little arrow, will show you your library of apps that you've downloaded or apps you've created that you're using. And you don't have to keep all of yours on here. You can upload them into their cloud storage for free and just have the ones on here that you're using for the week so you're not cluttering up your memory on your device. The star is the social feed, and that shows you how many likes you've gotten, who's following you. Let's see what else. If you send a student an assignment, he'll get a little notification that he has an assignment or that he's got a message in feeds, and it will show up at the top of his feed. Here's your assignment, here's the due date, whatever comment you want to put in there for him. So that's how he knows that he has something to do. Again, your personal data is when you tap into your profile, and I just realized I don't have my own profile in here. Okay. That's all right. We'll come back to that stuff in a minute. So, when you get to the end of the game, it gives you a score. This is in the regular mode. In gaming mode, it not only gives you their percentage, but it tells you how much time they spent, how many lives they used, and gives you a total score so they can kind of compete against each other or against themselves. And it shows you how they did compared to the other students who played the game. The only problem with this is it doesn't save it. Once they exit out of the app, it's gone. So a lot of teachers just train the kids to take a screenshot of it when they're done or bring it up and show them what the score is so they can write it down for their data for the day. Hello. Okay, so let's talk about creating. It's also easy to do that. I'm going to give you a brief overview and then we'll go into this more in detail. First, you have to download the app and set up your profile. Hopefully everybody's done that already. Then the second step is you create your first layer with all of your visuals. And we'll talk about each of these, but you can put in text, you can use images from their library, there's sticker packs or creation packs that they call them. You can use the drawing palette here to do your own illustrations, you can search the web, or you can import photos from a variety of sources. TinyTap is CAPA compliant, so they have age-appropriate filters and a child protection feature that you can turn on in the settings. And if you look on my iPad, those little dots in the bottom there, that's your settings, okay? So you just go in there to turn on your child protection. After you do the visual layer, you do the interactive layer, and you do that by creating hotspots for where the answers are, and these are the 5 different activities you can choose from to put on a page. You can only do 1 per page. And then when you're finished making your app by doing that for all your pages, then you're ready to upload it and save it to their cloud, which I would recommend doing. So if something ever happens to your iPad, you don't lose all your hard work, and it is free. We'll talk about some of these things at the end, but you put your name in there for the title for the app that you're making. This is where you turn on the gaming mode. I'll show you all that when we get to it. So let's start creating, and please feel free to go ahead and play around with this while we're doing it. That's how you learn. So first we're going to create a slide. Let me go into creation mode. You just tap on that little thing on the bottom there, that little X, cross, whatever that is, plus sign. If you do not want this, whatever pops up, just tap somewhere on the screen and it disappears. So the idea is to put all of your visual elements in first, all your text, all your images, your background, and when you have everything the way you want it, then click Add Activity. Don't click that until you're done. When you click that, it saves the whole page like frozen. You cannot change it after that. But it saves a copy of it in your photo file on your device. So if you're doing something that you want the same basic picture for several pages, you don't have to recreate it each time. Just import the whole page from your photo file. And you'll see that as we start working on this. So when you're finished and you click that, you cannot change anything that's in that picture again. You can add to it, but you can't move anything, you can't delete anything. Okay, so let's talk about these sticker packs. When you click on that little face thing there, whoops, there it is, all right. They have lots of images here that you can use for free. Most of them are free, some of them are for sale. Backgrounds, all kinds of layouts for your pages. All kinds of neat stuff like that. If you want to build a quiz show, like a Jeopardy type show, there's some layouts and backgrounds and things you can use. Farm animals, I love the animals in here. I use these all the time. So those are just some examples of that. You can also click on the spyglass and do an internet search. Excuse me. Let's search for some cats. Okay, so there's a cat. Once you get an image, you can move it around, you can resize it, you can turn it around however you want it. You notice a grid pops up when you put your finger on the image. That just helps you center it and line things up and keep them straight so it looks more professional. When you double tap the image, you get a menu that pops up. So you can stick it so it doesn't move anymore, and that's what you need to do if you want to draw on your image. So if I want to give him a hat or something that I want to draw on there, he'll just keep moving around if you don't stick him. But once he's stuck, you can't undo it. Send to back, same thing, can't undo it. Background, you can make him a background and you cannot undo that. You can flip the image. You can duplicate the image. There we go. We got 2 of them now. And this is the coolest thing. First time I used TinyTap, I could not figure out how to get rid of an image. I used to erase the whole page and start over. Duh. Watch this. Just flick it away. Love that. All right. Let me find another picture that might have some white on it and show you what happens with that. Let me see. No, that's not the one I want. How about, oh, this guy maybe. No. Oh, him. That'll work. There we go. Let's get rid of these other guys. Yeah. There we go. Come on. Go bye-bye. All right. Now you see how there's white around the background there? If you do that, the background white disappears, but all the other white also disappears, like his shirt and his eyes. So what I do then is just put the white back behind it. Just take a color shape, just a little, there we go. All right, size that down there, put it behind his eyes, tap on him to bring him front. And now you can see he's got white eyes again, and you'd have to do the same thing for the shirt. Another way to do that is just search for a graphic that's a PNG graphic. So you would put in cat clip art PNG or cat PNG. And that is without any of the backgrounds. Like this one would be a PNG image. So let's see, let's make this guy a background and show you cannot move that again. This guy you can still move because he's not the background. But we're done with those, so let's get rid of that. And go back and start with a clean page. There we go. All right. So our next thing is importing. Come on. Oh. I'm going to have to exit out of here and log in as myself. Sorry. Hold on 1 second. You guys don't need to see my password. Just hang in there. Okie dokie. Anybody have any questions yet?
I haven't seen any come up yet. So if you guys have a question, you can type it into the question bar at the bottom.
Okay, we are good to go. Good thing I remember my password and didn't have to look it up, huh? So we're in Create. Whatever you have downloaded on your device, if you have Dropbox downloaded, it automatically shows up here. If you have iCloud downloaded, or have it enabled, it automatically shows up here. Same thing with Google Drive. If it's not showing up, maybe you don't have it downloaded. So you can take a picture with the camera. You can find something from your photo album, Dropbox, any of those sources. I have a note here that you may need to go into the settings on your device and turn those things on to make sure that TinyTap can detect them. Alrighty. Oops. The other option is drawing. Got a palette there, you can make it any color you want. So let's see, I want to stick him so he doesn't move so I can draw on him. I'll make him purple. Whatever. Now if you don't like that, you can undo it. There's a little arrow in the bottom that takes that off. If you change your mind and you want it back, you can get it back. So that's pretty cool. And my iPad screen is like 3 steps behind me. There it goes. That's pretty self-explanatory. We talked about the formatting already. Some images allows you to blur it, and that gives you a really neat artistic effect. I'm not sure what specific types of images you have to use for that. But let's talk about this one. Supposing you have something that you want to crop out the background that's not white, you can't use the remove white. I'm going to exit out of TinyTap for just a second and go into Cut My Pick. What you would do is go into Photo, select a photo from your photo file on your device. I'll use the same one. All right, there he is again. And then to make sure that he holds still while you're cropping, click Start. And then you just use your finger or a stylus or whatever and just crop out the part of the picture you want. Click Save to Library, and then the little X on the top to close. And then exit out of there, and that will be in your photo library on your device. There it is. So that's how we do that. Very easy to edit and crop your pictures that way. Okay, after you have your pictures in there, you might want to add your text. Yep. Let's open this up again. When you tap on the bottom, a keyboard pops up. This also works if you have a Bluetooth separate keyboard that you use with your device. So let's say green cat. Blue dog. All right. When you tap on the little T, it shows you all different kinds of fonts you can change it to. I know when I was making stuff with Word, I used to like that Comic Sans. They don't have that in here, but they do have Marker Felt. That's pretty close. It's kind of a fun font. You can also get rid of that box in the background by tapping on that A. So now that's gone. You can change the color of the font. Just tap on the typing again on the words and this pops up. So we can make that brown. All right. Put it where you want it. Oops, I don't want that. And then when you're done with that, just click Add Activity. So now that is saved in your photo file. and it's frozen. You cannot change anything that's on here, but you can add to it. Okay, so let's click on later for that. If you want to edit by adding something, you click on that pencil. That always means edit. And then tap on your page, and we can, oh yeah, let's put in another animal. Why not? About them dogs. All right, so you see you can add, but you can't change anything that's on there. So now that's your new page. All right, let's take another empty page and see what we're going to do next. Alrighty, we already talked about clicking on that to add the next layer, so we'll skip over that. So what I usually do when you get to the second layer, I usually click later and go ahead and do all of my pages first, all of the visuals and the images and the text first, and then I go back and put in the interactive layer because most of these require recording something. And if you do one page one day and another page another day, the recording quality is usually different from day to day. So in order to make it sound more consistent and more professional, it's better to record the whole thing at one time. So it's the same volume and no background noise or whatever. So you can click on later and come back and add these at a later time. In fact, let me go back to this one. You just have to tap on that and that will pop up again. So we have a choice of asking a question, creating a soundboard, cutting a shape puzzle, playing a video, saying something. Let me do ask a question first. You record your question. Where's the green cat? And then you trace your hotspot, and it corrects your sloppy drawing. You can make it a square if you want, whatever. You can move it around, center it. When you're done, you tap on that green check mark there. And this is the cool part. After you've done that, when you click on the question 1, it gives you another menu just for dealing with that question. So you can, this first one, you can play that question back again that you just recorded and hear it again. Or you can record a response to the correct answer, like, way to go, hey, awesome. Or you can record a response to an incorrect answer, so you can tell them why the answer was wrong or what they should be looking for, which is awesome. That takes this beyond just being a quiz to see how much they know to actually being instructive. I love that. And when you're done, just click on done there. And then at the bottom here it says add a question. You can put lots of questions and hotspots on one page. I've had over 20 on one page already. So that's pretty cool. When you're all done with that, just click done. Now let me play that for you. Where is the green cat? Okay. So if you don't record, ooh, I got 100%, woohoo! If you don't record a response, it does that default little confetti thing. So it's up to you which way you want to do that. So that's asking a question. Let's go to creating a soundboard. This is one of my favorites. I use this a lot. Oh, by the way, I almost forgot. When you're working on this, if you have to leave in the middle, if you don't do something, you're going to lose all your work. And this is what you need to do. You need to have at least one of these interactive activities on one of your pages. Any page, doesn't matter what the activity is. So if I'm not ready to actually do that part of it yet, what I just do is take the first page and I record a question like we just did, and then it will save it. So I'm going to click on Done. We're not ready to upload it yet, so I'm going to click on Later. So here it is. It showed up in my library, and it's waiting for me to finish working on it. I just click on that edit arrow and open it up again, and there we are. We're ready to work on it again. If you don't want the first thing to be a question, that's okay. This is easy to edit out. You just remove that question activity, delete, done, and it goes back to a blank page that's ready to put whatever interactive activity you do want on there. A lot of the other ones you cannot undo. You'd have to redo the whole page from level 1 up. But ask a question, you can actually delete that. Play a video, you can delete. The other ones you cannot. Okay, so create a soundboard. I'll use the same picture. This one you're going to start with your hotspot first. So let's do a dog. And when you tap on that blue cross there, it gives you a menu so you can record. Oh, my menu didn't pop up on my screen. Let me show it again. Maybe it will this time. There it is. Dog. Woof, woof. If you notice, there's also a place here. Oh, it didn't show up again. Really? There it is. There's a place here where you could type in text, so you can actually put the word in there also, or make like a little flashcard or something. And then jump to page. Remember, this is the one that I used for making the interactive visual schedule, and it would jump to like the breakfast page or the circle page or whatever. I'm not going to jump to page right now. But this one's done, and then we can do another one for the cat. Meow. Cat. Okay, so that one's done. So let's go back and play this now. Dog. Woof, woof. Meow. Okay, so that gives you an idea of how the soundboard works. I'm going to need another picture for our next one. Oops, wrong way. Got a shape puzzle. I'm going to look for one of the pictures in my photo album that we just used. Oh, let's use this one this time. Why not? Yep. Add activity, shape puzzle. Okay, so whatever you want the picture to look like when the child is done with this page, that's what you start with on your first visual layer. So we want it to look like this when the puzzle's complete, so that's where you start. When you get to the second layer with putting in the actual shape puzzle, this is where we cut out the pieces. When you tap on the little blue and white X, it automatically removes it. You can put it where you want it. Okay. And then click Done. This is great to use for matching activities and things like that. All right, I'll play that one. So this is what it looks like to the student when he opens this page, and he has to fix it. Okay. Oh boy, I'm good. Awesome. Let's see. Play a video is next, And I recommend using a black background for this. You can go into backgrounds and there's a black one right there. Save it to go to the next layer. Add your activity, play a video. So you can search YouTube. Again, monitor your students. Make sure they're not looking up things that are inappropriate, although the filters are pretty good in this. Some of them are pretty creative. They might figure out a way to word something just right to get past those filters. So here, by the way, are a list of all the TinyTap video tutorials that are available on YouTube. There's tons of them there. You would just select one. You can move that around. Okay, I'm going to stop that for a minute to show you. You can crop this video, which is pretty slick. I did a DaVinci app, and right in the middle of the video I wanted to use was a nice picture of a naked man. Not too appropriate. So I just spliced that out of the middle. And the way you do that is up here where I know it's pretty tiny on the screen here, but you'll see it on yours. These are like counters, the footage counters for your video clip. So the first one, you just set it for when you want it to start. And the other one you set for when you want it to end. So if you just want a minute of it, okay, stop already. The rest of this will actually be put on another page, and if you don't want to use it at all, just delete it. But you can use that other page then to select which part of that clip you want, and that's how you would splice out something you do not want in your video. So it's pretty easy. Oh, okay, I got a mouse there. Say something is just reading or giving instructions. There's not really something interactive the kids have to do on that one. But if you go into that little settings cogwheel there, it gives you an option of setting that where they have to tap somewhere on the page to continue, and that way it doesn't automatically advance. It gives you time, it gives them time to read if you want them to read it. It gives you time to discuss something. It's pretty slick, and you can jump to page from there also to another page. So that's pretty easy. This is just like your introductory instructions to the activity, or at the end you might want to say, well, that was really good, now let's try some of the other ones in this series, or whatever you want to say. If you play some of mine, you'll see some of them. Alrighty. So we have a few minutes left. I want to talk about editing and packaging. We kind of talked about editing already. That's this pencil thing. Gets you into edit mode. If you want to edit the text, you have to do it through that pencil. So you can go in and add the text or add another picture. If you don't like this text, instead of redoing the whole thing, oops, cover it up. Just cover it up like that and start over. That's an easy way to edit. So now that's gone. If you want to get into the interactive activities and edit that, just tap on the page. You don't have to use that pencil edit thing. So this, you can just undo these, trash can, delete. Okay, you can, if you don't like the way it is, you can do it over. You need to give your creation a name. If you're going to use some fancy name like Melissa's Mystery or something like that that doesn't really tell you anything about what the app's about, then keep in mind that when we get to the part where we're getting it ready to upload, you need to put a description in there that has some terminology that people can search for it by, like subject. I'll show you that in a minute. So that's the name. This is gaming mode. When you open that, turn on challenge mode, and you can set the time limit for either each page or the whole game, and you just set the time limit by tapping on the time, and your little wheel thing pops up here that you can select. And you can also select how many wrong answers, how many lives they have before they're kicked out of the game. Shuffle is kind of neat. What that does is it shuffles all your pages in between your first and last page. So say I have 5 pages here. Your first and your last page are going to stay the same, but all the ones in between are going to show up in random order each time it's played, so they don't pop up in the same order. This is great for practicing sight words or like multiplication tables or things like that. Obviously, you have to make sure that your instructions are on the first page, otherwise they're going to be scrambled up into your activity. The music is just that, little notes. There's different musical backgrounds you can put in here. One is the game show. There's other ones. Or you can select no music. Click done. And when we look at the little box there, that's the upload sign, and you're going to come across that in a couple of different places. So when you're getting ready to upload, when everything's ready, this is where I meant that you need to put some descriptive terms in there. So if this is about animals, identify animals by sound. So somebody who's looking for an animal activity can find it by searching animals. Somebody who's looking for, auditory discrim sound activities can search it by using the word sound. Then at the bottom here, we need to pick a category. Let's say language. It's most of our stuff. They don't have one speech, so everything kind of goes under language. Select an age, language. Look at all these languages. 32 different languages they have. Isn't that awesome? All right. Now, down here on the bottom are 2 little toggle switches. The one with the globe, if it's green, it's on. That means when you upload it, it's going to be shared with everybody in the world. A lot of teachers turn that off to upload the stuff that their students do. That's fine. However you want to do it. If you don't want to make theirs public, you can keep it private like that. But they can still access them from home from having the website, the link to the website. This pencil thing, the green button, means that you're allowing people to download it and edit it, which is great for customizing apps. So if you download a social story, you can go in and put the child's actual name and photograph into that social story, which I think is awesome. It saves you so much time. But if you're uploading a quiz, obviously you don't want the kids going in and changing and editing your quiz, so you would turn that off. All right. When you're all done, click save, and it should upload. Every once in a while you might get an error message that said that there was a problem sending it. Don't believe them. Just check to see if it shows up in the marketplace in a minute or two. Okay, so here, I don't have this hooked up to my email, but you can set it so that you can send this link to somebody. And that's it. That's all there is to creating and uploading your stuff. I do encourage uploading it and making sure that it doesn't get lost if something happens to your iPad. Any questions, any ideas for how you're going to use this? Oops, didn't want to do that, sorry. If you would, go back, exit out of your creation mode there by clicking that little done button that was up there, and go back to where you can access this blue bar. In the settings, it says rate TinyTap. Please do take a minute after we're done here to go in and give them a rating in the App Store, and maybe some comments, some feedback, like one thing you liked about it, maybe one thing you didn't like or didn't understand, or something you would like to see them add, and maybe how you're planning on using it with your students. They really do use this feedback to make this a better product all the time. They are improving it. They've got awesome tech support. And don't panic if you can't remember all this.
Ellen?
Yes.
Excuse me, this is Christine. I'm sorry to interrupt you. We do have one question down in the chat.
Okay.
And it's this person has asked, can you create containers so you can give an instruction and a student has to put something somewhere on a designated hotspot on the screen, and then will the app reject or accept depending on the accuracy?
Okay. Yep. That's my little timer that I'm out of time. Yeah, and I'll stay as long as people have questions. I don't care. Let me show you. You can search for whatever container you want. Let's see. We'll use that one. Why not? All right. Let's put refrigerator here. All right. So you have two containers. I think I know what they mean about. I think they mean like drag and drop it in there. Not really, unless you do it like a shape puzzle. So, for example, let's put some other pictures on here. How about let's find a good picture of trash. Oh, there's some trash. Okay, so there's trash. And something for the other one. How about trash, and we'll put milk in there. Why not? Okay. Well, I shouldn't have removed the light, but that's all right. You get the idea. So we could put that there, we could put that there, and then save it and make it like a shape puzzle. Got a shape puzzle. And what you would want to do is make sure that your shapes are the same for both, so they're not just cueing on the shape. So there's one. There's the other. Done. Let's play it. So they would have to drag and drop them in there. Okay. Oh, darn, only 83%. Did that answer your question? I hope. Once you get the hang of using this, it'll be pretty easy to figure out what feature you have to use to do the activity you want to do. But until then, look at some of the other apps that are in the marketplace and open up that page on the side. Let me show you one more time. Well, here's one I just did on Respect. And it's not showing up on my... Hello. My image mirroring isn't mirroring. Interesting. Come on. There it is. Okay. So when you press that little menu icon that was up there, the pages open up, and look at what they use to make those. If you find an activity that you like and you figure, is that a soundboard? Is that a question? What is that? It'll tell you on there. So that's always good to know. And there's lots of tutorials, videos, all kinds of things available. I made a tutorial that has a whole lot of the same stuff we went over tonight in there, and you can sit down with this on your laptop and then have your iPad or your device in front of you and just do it step by step together with that. This is a whole collection of little video clips that teachers have put together teaching about how to use TinyTap. I also have some information on my website. I have a Facebook page. Just search for my name, Ellen Weber, with one B, like the grill. Look for the blue picture because there's like a gazillion Ellen Webers. And I have lots of tips and stuff on how to get the most out of TinyTap. And if there's no other questions, I think we are done.